I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'd tried everything and nothing else worked. So yeah, it was time to give it all up.
I knew something needed to change. I think, you know, as I said, the consequences were increasing. You know, hospital visits and things like that. So, you know, it was at that point, and you know, I finally got to that point where, as I say, I reached out and asked for a rehab actually.
The last time I got sober, it was because I had that connection with the community and coming out of my house and making friends and seeing other people really that had gone through similar things.
For me, it was a period of about 2 years of when I first realised I needed to stop drinking. It was clearly a problem for me, and I tried a variety of services, and there was just something in me that didn't have that will. And on this occasion, I felt like for me, I'd hit rock bottom. I had nowhere else to go but up, and that's when that was my sort of moment of clarity.
The biggest change was going to that rehab. It was an all-men's rehab, and for the first time in my whole life, growing up and as a teenager, for the first time I felt part of, and I felt like I belonged, and I felt like I'd found my home, and I felt loved, and I didn't feel ashamed, and I didn't feel guilty, because there was a lot of people that were sharing other stuff that I'd done through addiction. So that was kind of where it started for me, to be fair.
But it's definitely been peer support. I think peer support is key to recovery. It's a big journey. It's not something you can do on your own.
Long story short, I had an accident. I got knocked over by a car and broke my femur, and I was laying in the hospital, and the accommodation I was living at wasn't ideal. It was a shared house, and I didn't want to go back. So I phoned my key worker. My key worker actually phoned me and told me he could get me in a rehab. And that was it. I was like, you know what? I've tried everything else. I can't do this on my own. And I've never looked back since.
I think the main thing was just sat down one night with my normal drink, what I would drink, and tears just rolled down my face, and I was so tired of being sick and tired that I knew I couldn't carry on anymore.
You know, I lost the relationships with family members, I lost the relationships with partners, I lost material things in my life. Health was deteriorating rapidly, and finally I was sort of reduced to a plastic bag with, you know, a couple of items of clothes in, with nowhere to go, sofa surfing, on the point of being street homeless, and it was sort of at that point, you know, in a way I sort of see that as a rock bottom.
You know, the lowest point for me would be, you know, missing out on them 5 years with my children, because my addiction became so unmanageable and so risky, and everything that was involved with it. That was my lowest point, and that took 5 years, you know what I mean? So, you know, I miss my kids, you know, today after a week.
And it was that feeling of, I don't want to live, but I also don't want to die, and that's the point I got to, and that's definitely a turning point in my life.
I've always used substances to try and fit in and feel normal, and be more confident in myself, because I never had that from an early age. I started using in high school, and have done throughout my life until like one substance or another, and then it got to a point where it wasn't working anymore. Nothing was working, and I was very, very ill.
I thought I knew about addiction. I thought it was a choice. I thought I could stop at any time, and really, and I believed that once you became detoxed from your substance, once it was out your system, you'd be fixed and you could go back to your ordinary life. And I was massively, massively mistaken. I knew nothing about addiction. And Yeah, so that's when I knew I needed something more.